Hi. Today I'm having a really special band for Rock Nation. My name is Alex Morano. I'm having with me Danny and William coming from together, Pangea. As a band actually comes from 2009. The guys have been around for a long, long time. They're coming with 4 EP and the 4 albums that are coming now, the 22nd of October, with the latest one, which is Die. And I think this is what we're gonna talk about. Hey guys, how are you doing there?
Good.
Good day so far. So far, so good.
So Danny at the moment is working. Is where are you at the moment, Danny? Just explain me one sec.
I work in the film industry. I'm working. I don't know. I'm on set right now for a TV show.
That's good. What kind of TV show are we talking about? Is it something?
I don't exactly know today, and I don't even know if I can say if I wanted to.
I'm not allowed to say. This one is pretty confidential, so let's keep it confidential there. And William is from Helmond Studio or
Yeah,
right? Sounds good. Okay. All right, guys, you've been around from a lot. I mean, it's 2009. It's a really long time, isn't it? How you excited that you're about the new album coming out? I mean, like you saw 4 EP and 3 long coming out. How excited about the new stuff coming out?
I'm really excited about it. We've kind of been sitting on this album for 2 years now, because mostly written like in the end of 2019, early 2020, and then just, with COVID and everything, we just kind of had to sit on it. So I'm excited for it to finally come out. And I think it's my favorite record that we've done. So
I think it's like hands down the best music we've ever made, like by a long stretch. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting because it's like I don't know what that even means anymore. Writing good music, I feel like, is like half the battle these days. But I think hands down we would all probably agree that it's the strongest music we've ever written and recorded.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I can see actually it's been listening to the album itself, because I had the pleasure to have the credits. So I went straight away and click on the page, going there, listening to it. Since like from the first release, the first release of like Marijuana, is a kind of completely different sound and different dimensions we've been doing in the past. It's a bit more aggressive, a bit more violence. This kind of what happened. I mean, like, what was pushing you to do something completely more different what you have been doing before?
Well, it's actually, it's louder. There's more distortion and stuff, but I think it's like a little bit more like our album Battle Act, which is also, I think, pretty aggressive. And I don't know. I think our intention was to make like a big, loud rock record that was fun to listen to. And I think I like to scream. So writing songs that I can scream on is fun. And I think we were thinking about the audience a lot. We just wanted to write an album that would be fun to perform for people, which is funny because, COVID happened and we couldn't play any shows. But now that we get to, I'm really excited to play all the new stuff for people. But yeah, I think we were thinking about, we wanted, to scream, and we want the audience to enjoy like the live shows. And we were thinking about that when writing.
It kind of goes back to like the same like inspiration and ethos that was behind like our first couple albums that we made, which was, like William said, like writing songs that are fun to play live and that we think will be fun to experience live. Which I think like on our last record, Bulls and Roosters, for example, we wrote songs that we were interested in writing that reflected our musical tastes a little more than anything. And I think that this album is a good hybrid of both those things, a nice reflection of our musical tastes and what we think would be fun for us to play live and for our fans to enjoy live.
Yeah.
Talking about musical taste, right? Where are the main influences? I mean, like I'm saying influence. I mean, you got your own sound. I mean, like Together Pangea sounds like your own sound, absolutely, hands down. But what we have been listening to during this time?
I think I was listening to like, I think I went back and listened to a lot of stuff that I listened to when I was a kid or when I was like, you know, maybe a teenager, like Nirvana and like some Weezer and Hole a little bit. And I think all that stuff kind of gets in there a little bit. It's kind of like 90s alt radio. Yeah, I think I was listening to a lot of that stuff.
I've been personally listening to lately a lot of Charlie Crockett,
Cool.
and like Buck Owens and Sturgill Simpson and people like that. But I've also really lately, my favorite record recently is Charlie Crockett and the new Surfboard record. I think has been really cool.
So that's like a 90s. They've been like a big influence for you, right? I mean, like I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the 90s they've been in US like an explosion of sounds in between like grunge and the punk rock and the noise in particular, like in between like NYC and whatever is happening around the country. So do you guys remember personally like what happened during the 90s? You were around there. I mean, remember like the first concert you see during that time?
I didn't like go to shows when I was a kid. I never really did. But
I don't know. I think we're all a little too, like slightly too young to like have been around for the 90s. We're more like we grew up in the 90s, but you know, I didn't start going to shows until probably like 2001, 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like we went to a venue called The Smell in LA, and I think at that time there was a lot of like it was like dance punk, like art rock, dance punk. It'd be like 4 on the floor beats with like some like noisy guitar and some saxophone maybe or something.
Yeah, like Silver Daggers or like the Meishi or
I guess No Age was going on then.
Blood Brothers, the Locusts, all sorts of
Locust, big stuff in it.
Yeah, they're a little on like the extreme end of things, but like you know, it was more that early 2000s like dance punk, a lot of white belts and black tight pants, you know.
Yeah, I know what I mean.
White studded belts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like it's completely different from the Italian scene from the 90s, which was absolutely like, what the hell is going on? I mean, like I remember bands that they were emulating. There was a lot of influence coming from UK during the 2000s. There was a lot of Britpop and things like that. So
yeah, we were also really heavy into like what was coming out of the Pacific Northwest which is a pretty, you know, it's an extension of like everything that was happening in the 90s with grunge and all that. Like, I mean, Kurt Cobain was a big, you know, K Records fan. We were very big fans of like the K Records bands when we sort of started out, and when like the early 2000s, like
there's like Beat Happening and like
Wings,
microphones.
You guys ever had a touch with the Midwest emo scene at all?
What did we do? What with the Midwest emo scene?
Yeah, we ever heard something about Midwest emo, like for instance, Appleseed Cast or American football, something like that?
It was never really anything that I paid any attention to.
We were all familiar with it, but I don't think I ever really got into that. I think we stayed a little bit further west. Like I liked Modest Mouse a lot when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still like, you know, This Is a Long Drive is a good record and Lonesome Crowded West and stuff. But that, I don't even know if that's emo. I don't think it is. But yeah, I don't think we ever really got into the Midwest emo scene.
So there was just a kind of a question I'm always asking because I'm kind of passionate about.
Yeah.
Like it's my kind of.
There's a lot to delve into in that scene. It would have made sense. Like, I think we are kind of an emo band, like in some respects. But like, we don't have any super strong emo influences, I guess.
Yeah, we're like more accidentally emo, I think.
Like, just happened. Like,
yeah, like literally, like I remember like not long ago, like, we started getting booked on all these like shows with certain bands. Like we did a tour with Alkaline Trio, and you know, we played this one festival with like Taking Back Sunday and all these sort of classic early 2000s emo bands. And then I started sort of noticing, like, you know, us getting lumped into these posts on the internet about, you know, emo, like, I don't know, just then we sort of came to the realization one day that maybe we're sort of an emo band and we never really intended to be.
Yeah.
Like accidentally just happened that we did some emo
happened
songs.
to be emo.
Okay, it is what it is, man. I mean, like, emotions are inside everyone. So if they're coming out like fluently in these ways, it is what it is, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Anyway, yeah. Talking about touring, because we were saying like we miss touring and so on. Do you remember from the early days any? I mean, I don't want to talk about that much of the early days, but it's something actually I'm always interested to know from bands that actually they've been around a lot. There was the same with the austerity program. There was a lot of questions about the early days, and after we focus on the album. But in the early days, you remember the struggle in between like going for a gig and there would be like 20 people, and after having a boom and having like a massive crowd in front of you, do you remember the kind of emotions you had in that times back then?
Kind of. It was. I mean. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Like, I think that when we're performing, I'm thinking so much more about what we're doing than who's watching.
Okay.
That, you know, you pay attention to it. You see like numbers start getting big on the internet, like, you know, streaming numbers and stuff like that. And the crowds start to get bigger. And it's definitely more fun to play to a lot of people than nobody. But, I feel like I'm always just thinking about like playing the songs well, and so I never really think about it that much, at least in the moment when we're performing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's been like certain moments like that have been like hallmark moments in our career. Like, you know, there's a local venue in Los Angeles called the Echo, for instance, and the very first time we played the Echo, we played to literally 2 people.
Happens sometimes, isn't it?
And then the last time we played the Echo, we played the larger room and we sold it out. So like that was, you know, like there's definitely like moments like that, but there's no like, there's no like specific moment that you really were like, oh, stuff is happening. It's just sort of generally gets better and it gets a little easier to tour and things like that. And
it's been so gradual for us too. Like we've been around for a long time, and you know, it's just been a slow build. So there was never really one moment where we were like, oh, this is crazy. Just kind of built up.
It's never been like a direct result of something that we've done. Like there hasn't been like we released a song and it did really well, and now like, you know, we're playing to 500 people tonight instead of 100 people. It's just we've been just doing this in such a way for so long that it's just been a very gradual build.
Do you remember any crazy stuff happening during the tours back then?
Just like sleeping in terrible places.
Like floors.
Yeah, a blur. We definitely slept on a lot of floors. The shows are kind of a blur. Like we've just played so many shows.
I remember we booked the first time we went to South by Southwest. we didn't have any clue what we were doing, and we didn't book any hotels or anything. And we ended up like sleeping in the van quite a bit, and it was pretty awful. I remember we just sort of like going from show to show, trying to get free food and free drinks and things like that. We ended up at this one show in a backyard with this like tall bike jousting gang, and they were like throwing knives around and making homemade Four Loco, and like this guy named Goat, God of All Texas, was playing, and they like there's footage from that show that ended up being like extremely viral. I don't know, just like a lot of moments like that. Like, and that's the very same Southwest. Like, we had no place to sleep, and I remember we ended up finding a hotel a little bit out of Austin, and there was like blood and bodily fluids all over the walls, and it was not just us; it was us and like 2 other bands sharing a 2-bed hotel.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So, like, sleeping on the floor. The floor is like wet for some reason. You know, like a lot of stuff like that. I don't, you know, I don't think there's necessarily any like, wow, that was a crazy thing that happened. There's just a lot of unsanitary, you know, not ideal moments over the
Like
years.
health and safety not approved moments.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's do a bit of the inside. So I'm interviewing you for an Italian newspaper / website, which is Rock Nation. Have you ever been in Italy before? What do you know about Italy? Would you like to go there again, in case you've been there again?
Yeah, we've been to Italy, I think 3 times now, and I think the only really good shows that we have had have been in Bologna and in Milan. But we've loved every second that we've been in Italy. It's absolutely beautiful.
Italy is great.
We would love to spend more time there and see more of the country. Sadly, we've only seen like I think a fraction of it, but every time we've been there, it's been really fun.
Yeah,
sorry, you
me
go
and my girlfriend also went and just stayed in Milan for a week after touring because I liked it so much and I wanted to go back. So we went and stayed, and yeah, it's a beautiful city.
Yeah, artistically speaking, Milan is great. I mean, like the majority of the concert and the bands they're coming into Italy, like coming from US in particular, even from around the world, they're going to Milan and Bologna as well, as you said. So it's a kind of a neuralgic place that all the massive bands go. I mean, it's actually happening until Rome, and unfortunately, where I'm coming from Naples, just behind the belt.
Yeah.
Happening that much. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, like we get a really little space of whatever is happening up north and up the center. But yeah, I do love Milan as well. I mean, like I got friends in there, and one of my friends is a photographer there for bands. So when I'm having opportunity, just going down there, and I'm always having a good time. So yeah, Milan is absolutely the place you want to go again to have a gig, because people that would. Yeah.
I think it's like it's a big country, and it's hard to get down south, necessarily like to do some shows. So it's we've really only gotten a little bit south of we played this one show. I wish I could remember the name of the town, but it was we also played where's the town that Juventus is? What city is that?
Are we talking about Juventus again?
Well, what's the city that they're from?
That would be Turin.
We played in Turin one time, and then we also played in this like mountain town nearby, and I just remember that being a really awesome, beautiful. Like we got lost with our old tour manager Dick. He was like very confused about where the venue was, and we ended up like on this like farmland in the mountains. I actually have like a photo of it. Like he's like standing outside of our tour van, just like confused, trying to figure out where we are.
Yeah, that was like he was using a little book that had like the streets and stuff on it. I think this was like pre everybody having a smartphone all the time, or at least he was like 50 something.
And he was also using like a Garmin or something like that, and like it only worked so well, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it worked that much in Italy. I mean, back then it was a bloody mess, to be fair, with GPS and things like that. I mean, like it got better with Google Maps, and but it was a cool experience getting lost. I just remember like
him driving down a road, and we're in this like mountainy farmland area, and then all of a sudden like the road ends and he just gets out. He's like, I don't understand, like we're supposed to keep going but there's no road. And I have a photo on my computer somewhere of him like and us like outside of the van just confused, and there's like cows and stuff.
Yeah, we have many cows in Italy. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, plenty of landscape.
Also the best like coffee, hands down. Like
Yeah.
truck stop coffee in Italy is like insane.
Well, you're talking about the small espresso.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
just
Oh yeah,
like this, right? Yeah, it's like good stuff. Yeah,
it's great.
it's 100% robusta because we don't really like Arabica that much. It's actually give you the kind of hit on the face of caffeine, and like you starting to shake and things like that. Yeah, it's good stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
I love it.
Cool. Let's talk a bit about the new album. I saw that literally you guys are having a gap of 4 years in between albums and things like that. This one is happening in a particular moment, the literally is pandemic, which has been a punch in the face of the industry, let's be honest. How did you guys record it? I mean, like it was ready before everything happened, or it was recorded in between the time?
It was written we started writing before, but then during the pandemic, we kept writing. And how we did a thing where we would get tested once a week, and we recorded over the course of a month at a studio called Balboa in East LA. It was kind of nice. Like it was during quarantine and none of us had been like outside of the house really, but we got to like rehearse and record and stuff during that time. So it gave us something to like do so we didn't go crazy.
And we were lucky enough to be like in a major city like LA where testing was pretty widely available through all of COVID. So, I mean, I had friends in other parts of the country who like it either cost like $200 to get a test, or like they'd have to drive like, an hour and a half to go get a test. And us being in Los Angeles, like there was testing sites everywhere, and it was fairly easy for us to just sort of be like, okay, like there's 5 of us in the studio. How about you go get tested on Monday, you go get tested on Tuesday, you get tested on Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like, so we had like a rotating thing happening where we were all being tested frequently and, making sure that it was as safe as possible and as safe as we could at least make it. But yeah, it was great. It was, the world was shut down and we were able to like get together and write and record. So it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So basically, you tell me that it was there were places in the US that literally charged 200 quid for a test. I mean, $200, whatever it is.
Yeah, I remember when I first went to visit my parents, like maybe 5 months into the coronavirus happening. I remember I went and got tested, and I was like, if you guys can get tested, that'd probably be a good idea. And they're like, well, the tests that we have nearby cost $200. So
Jesus.
Yeah, that was in
Georgia,
outside of Atlanta in Georgia.
Yeah.
And I think in the South, I think testing was really expensive, but in LA, it was free for everybody.
Even in like, I know like Chicago, like we have some friends in Chicago, and I remember talking to a buddy of mine and him being like, yeah, it's like testing isn't really a thing out here. And if you want to get a test, it costs money.
I feel like the pandemic itself was entirely different depending on what part of the country you were in.
Yeah.
Like there were some places that just didn't close down at all. Like, and I think it was like in Georgia and stuff, like they had people in restaurants the whole time, pretty much. And then places like LA, we took it seriously and everything was closed for a year. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Seems like we're at the really end of it. I mean, like it looks like the situation is getting better, it's getting controlled. You guys planning any shows, or you're already having shows that are happening soon?
Yeah, we played a few shows. We went on like a mini tour. That was fun. We have shows coming up in LA, and then we're planning a tour next year. And we're doing a European tour. Hopefully, if everything works out, we'll be in Europe with Jimmy Eat World.
Holy, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we go to Italy on that tour, but we will be out there.
Are you coming UK for that one?
We
With
definitely
Jimmy?
played London on that tour, but I don't know if we play Italy.
Oh my god, I can't wait for that. I mean, like, if you guys coming here, I'm coming straight away. I mean, like, I will be pleased with you, both for you. But I mean, talking about something when I was like 15 or 16. Yeah, you need to work.
There we go. Like, again, we're on a accidentally emo. We're like on this tour.
Is Jimmy from emo?
Yeah.
I feel like they started, like, I feel like their first couple EPs and stuff had some Midwest emo stuff going on, but their big album, what is it? Bleed American?
Yeah,
like, I don't think that's an emo album.
Yeah, they had a kind of a twist in between, like going from. I mean, emo is weird, guys. That's the thing. I mean, like, we're talking about
it's hard to categorize.
Emo bands, they would be like even math rock, like for instance Terra Melos, or By the End of Tonight, they're considered like emo.
I think if you go to like any of the emo nights that are happening across the United States, you're probably going to hear a Jimmy Eat World song.
Yeah, that would be absolutely. They are kind of a manifesto, like Get Up Kids. They are on the same level, I believe.
I mean, they got that whoa. So like,
I just think about rock, like, you know, like indie-ish rock. I feel like they were emo, and then their big record isn't. But maybe people would disagree with me about that.
No, I believe that they switched in between, like going in between like indie and emo. I believe I absolutely agree that the first release they were putting like the benchmark for the emo structure, and after they moved for something different. For I mean, maybe for kind of a style, they want to do something completely different at some point.
Yeah,
or they accidentally emo in the beginning, and after they changed completely. But yeah, I mean, pretty good stuff. I mean, loved it completely.
Yeah.
So. Let's talk about still recording. So been recorded during pandemic. You guys have been tested, which is fantastic. I mean, like you managed actually to go through that. It's coming the 22nd of October. How does it come? It comes in digital, and what else?
Vinyl, and we got CDs too. If people still buy CDs, I don't know if that works. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the best way to get it is on vinyl. We just got the test pressings, and we listened to them the other day, and it sounds great on vinyl.
Yeah.
How about cassette?
It always feels like the album's really finished when you get that like test pressing, and you get to like hear it and be like, all right, there it is. Because it's also like it's also abstract through the whole process. It's like you record these songs, then you hear different versions of them, you hear different mixes of them, different masters, and then all of a sudden, you know, months and months, you know, even a year plus later, you know, we hear the vinyl, and it's like, all right, there it is, it's done.
How long is you guys to choosing between like the mixing and the mastering? I mean, like you guys had a bit of time to think about that, or you went just there for the first take? So you were coming back and forth, or
we went in with Chris Cody to mix, and we only did, I think, one day with him, and then we did some like online mixing sessions. We like to be involved a lot in the mix. I feel like there's a lot of you can totally dramatically change the style of a record based on how you mix it.
Yeah.
So we like to be involved, and that was like, I think, a month-long process of like doing mixes and sitting with them, and then listening again, and then making small changes. The mastering, I still don't even know what mastering does, to be honest.
Yeah,
like,
but
no idea.
I mean, you know, something interesting too, like talking about all this COVID stuff. Like, we started out, we went into the studio with Chris Cody twice, and then like we did the remaining sessions, you know, like via, I don't even know what the service was that he had set up where he could stream the record, because he was getting a little, I think, nervous because he was having to travel and like see so many different artists that, like, you know, halfway through, like, went from doing in-person mixing sessions to digital mixing sessions.
Yeah, but it's
You go
Yeah.
on. Sorry.
It's just, yeah, it's a crazy long process, like a month long of recording after spending months writing, and then a month of mixing, and then the mastering, and then you sit on stuff for a long time. And like this stuff, we did all this almost a year ago, and now we're getting the
ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So guys, when you actually listen to the mastering and the mixing, I mean, like for this album in particular, you did something different, like putting different volumes in there, saying like pump more drums in this part, or you had a different vision of what you wanted comparing to the previous record?
I think that, I mean, our intention, or my intention, was to just make a bigger sounding record. So I think that was like, the whole thing was like, how can we make this sound bigger? And so there's a lot of like just layered guitars and, you know, lots of pedals. The drum sound is really important to make. Like, there was a mic in the studio that was like 40 feet away down a hallway that was recording drum sounds, and we were mixing that in so that the drums just sound bigger and bigger. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I like actually that mic far away, the recording, the drums. I mean, I'm a drummer myself, so when we're talking about drums,
Cool.
I mean, like, it's a big topic. I mean, like, drums have to be in spotless. I mean, like, don't fuck it up. Actually, drums sounds great in the album. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, like, it's a big punch in your face, which I love. Well done. So yeah, talking about recording and the process actually of producing and having a product in your hand. At the moment, there are the cassettes. They're coming up like big time because everyone is producing a cassette. What do you think about that?
We've done them in the past. I like cassettes. I have a cassette player in my car still. I don't know how many people still have cassette players in their car, but
what car do you have?
What
car do you have?
It's around the other side.
I have like a 2007 Honda CRV. Still got the tape deck. I'm gonna keep that car for hopefully another decade. But yeah.
I feel like the main issue with cassettes these days too is like, even you get a brand new cassette and after a couple listens, it starts to have issues.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool medium, but it's a pretty imperfect medium, and like it's more of like a
you just gotta take care of
purely physical, like, I mean, even if I remember like when we were getting cassettes made, like sometimes you play one first play and it's like the speed is off, and then you flip it and it starts to warble, like,
Yeah, there's problems sometimes. I still like it. We haven't released. We didn't do our last album on cassette, and we didn't do this album on cassette. But I guess if people showed an interest, like we could do a cassette.
I honestly think the best sounding medium for listening to music, like by a long shot, is actually reel to reel.
Yeah.
Our friend Oren, who has a record store out here, I remember like being at his house for a Hanukkah party like a year ago, and him playing some Bob Dylan reel to reels, and it just like sounded like it was like next level, like nothing I'd ever heard.
Yeah, I think those are expensive to produce.
Yeah, I don't know who's doing those these days, but that would be like, if we could have any medium, I would say let's do some of those.
I guess that would be around 10G just to produce that shit. I mean, like,
I'm sure,
yeah,
quite expensive.
Each. No.
Yeah, per head, yeah. They charge you by weight as well. I mean, like, they will weigh on a scale and they're like, oh, you have to give me something like that. Yeah, it's actually pretty good stuff. I've been listening to a couple of albums like that. I was like, Jesus, this is insane. I think it was the Lucid in the Comatorium of Mars Volta being
cool.
That was just amazing, man. I mean, like, it was a different kind of experience. I was like, wow. Was the relationship with a Spotify and Co? What do you think about that?
I think it's great that music is accessible to everyone in the world, like on a scale that it's never been. But I think it's a really huge bummer how little they pay their artists.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, completely agree. And what do you guys think about this kind of tendency at the moment that the people they tend to release single songs and the compilation instead of producing the whole album and thinking about if it's actually necessary to produce an album
I
after.
mean, it's like the way that I think that just is a reflection of like the climate of like the pop world and like popular music. It's like, you know, we look at like popular music like hip hop or pop, you know, whatever pop or whatever alternative rock there is, and it is more single driven. It's more like a culture of getting a lot out gradually, like always having something new out rather than like, oh, let's sit on this. Like, I mean, that's even happening with this record. Like, we've had, I think this will be like our sixth single, you know, and it's all from the same record, but it's a strategy because people have shorter attention spans because of social media and things like that. So that's just sort of a reflection of that. What do I think of it? I mean, I still like just listen to albums for the most part all the way through. Like if I'm gonna listen to an album, I'm just gonna put it on and let it play. I'm not really like. I mean, I'm not a fan of it, but it's just the way it is, and I don't know what I can do about it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with anybody else doing that. I think I personally just really like the craft, like writing songs, recording them together, figuring out what order to put them in and all that kind of stuff. Danny, are you riding a horse?
No, I'm.
Looks like though.
Yes, I am riding a horse.
No, I just kind of like I like putting an album together and like syncing stuff up. I mean, maybe it's gonna be old fashioned really soon, but I just prefer that.
No, it isn't. I mean, like at the end, what I think is really like unnecessary is like producing bands because at the end, at one point, it's like it's a mechanical system of producing bands just to put them on a one song straight and basically just get the money out of it. And after completely let them disappear from the scene. And it's happening. What is actually really upsetting me is it doesn't happen just in pop music. It's happening in rock. It's happening in every genre.
Well, it's just because like, you know, record labels and people like that are realizing that's just the way that people. Again, I think it comes down to it's because everyone's got a computer in their hands at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like people's attention spans are just different now.
I think there's something to be said about like, yeah, you pay $10 to Spotify and you can listen to any record ever at any moment, any song. So people they're only going to listen to like one, like people just aren't going to listen to an entire record. And I think that music business people are seeing that, but us as artists, that we don't care about that. Like it doesn't matter to us how people are listening to it. Like we still want to make the thing. We want to write the novel or whatever. We don't want to just put out like a snippet of it.
And it's also like, I mean, I don't know. I just at this point, I don't know what works anymore. I just know what I enjoy. And my own personal tastes, like what William was saying, like I like to listen to a full record. I like to create something on that scale rather than like, oh, let's do like song by song by song. But like, you know, that's just not the way people consume things, sadly, anymore, or the majority of people. So, you know, that's now we leave that sort of the marketing strategies and stuff to our record label because I don't think we know anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cool. Let's talk about 1 second the pandemic again because it's a kind of a hot topic around the journalism at the moment. There is this guy here in UK is called Rishi Sunak. He's the chancellor and economist in UK. So it was the guy that literally saved the economy, but it fucked it up for the next 20 years because they gave something away which is called furlough scheme, which is basically for the time we have to stay at home. They paid the 80% of our salary until a gap of £2,000 per month. Bada bing, bada boom. Anyhow, everyone had a fixed salary coming in every single month. Sorry about that. At some point, Rishi Sunak said that you guys, you should start to develop new skills during pandemic, because at some point there's not gonna be jobs anymore what we were doing before. So you need to learn new skills. Do you guys learn any new skills when you were in pandemic, or just fucking around with music?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I had a similar thing. I was on unemployment during the pandemic, and I mean, I could afford to just kind of hang out and write songs. Everybody talked about learning a new skill, and I always had that plan. And then here we are, and I didn't.
did.
Anything. What did you pick up, Danny?
I built that chopper, so I learned how to weld.
Oh, nice. You build a chopper?
Yeah.
Shit. I built a bike. I'm not gonna lie.
Cool.
So because I was so fed up, I couldn't get a bike because the market was so. Because I mean, like during the big pandemic in UK, everyone was getting a bike to go to work and wherever. So I couldn't get a bike. So I actually said, like, okay, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna buy the parts. I'm just gonna build it myself, and I built a bike, which I was really proud of. But now it's ending up really bad. So. It was resting for about 6 months, and after, like, okay, maybe I'm not that great in that. But anyhow, so you put up a chopper?
Yeah, I built a Harley Evo chopper with a rotary top 4-speed transmission, Rivera Primo Pro clutch and belt drive, rigid frame, 12 over Hydroglide pan head front end, all sorts of stuff. It was fun. And then I sold that bike a couple months ago.
So you sound actually overskilled for this job, but let's be honest.
Say again?
You sounds like overskilled for this job, but let's be honest. I mean, like, you know, every single component went on that chopper. I mean, like, that's great. I mean, like,
it definitely took time. But it was a great thing to do during the pandemic, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think you spend your time really well. So yeah, cool. Sounds pretty good indeed. So where we going after this? 22nd of October, album is getting released. You guys are absolutely on the scene. What is gonna happen next? Which one are the 3 steps that happen next? The release of the album.
We got a record coming out. We got a show at the Troubadour in Los Angeles. We got a show at the Glass House in Pomona, which is in November. Then we are in a tour is being planned for the spring, and potentially a small tour in the winter. We're just kind of like getting back to the old routine, I guess.
Normality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have the Jimmy World Tour in the summer.
Yeah. So
we should be spending the next couple of years just touring off our new album, Die, and we're excited to do it.
We also have some extra songs, you know, that will probably be coming out at some point. I'm not really sure when or how or what.
Yeah, we recorded, I think, 22 or something songs for Die. The B-sides, the songs that didn't make the album, we're still going to release. So at some point, maybe early next year, we're going to
release like everything that didn't happen in Die. That's great. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, like, I can't wait for that. Hopefully, we're going to meet up again and talk about that as well.
Yeah, hope so.
Chaps, I mean, I'm actually having enough. I mean, I'm not having enough for you. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just having enough for. No, I would stay actually have a chat with you, but I know that Danny maybe is busy at work, and I don't want to disturb them much. And I'm thanking you very much to make this one possible. I mean, it's great. You're absolutely fantastic. I wish you all the best for the release. This one, our interview will go across actually with the review that we're gonna do for the album, which will go coming out to the 22nd. And thank you very much for having me in studio with you.
Thank you
for your interest, and it's nice to meet you.
Yeah,
it was really nice to meet you indeed. Right.
All right, cool.
Catch you soon. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.